going to request Shri Satyanarayana ji to please take center stage. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a big round of applause. He's here. He's going to share invaluable knowledge with us.
Good morning, everyone, and it's really nice to speak after such a passionate introduction by Sangeeta, whom I had known for decades. In fact, we worked closely together in the introduction of telemedicine first time when President Clinton visited Hyderabad, not far from where we are standing right now in the high-tech city. And, it looks like yesterday. But a lot has happened since then, and Apollo has taken telemedicine to with a much larger footprint today across India. I think the conference is very well structured, and I happen to be in the other room which talks about patient safety and affordable care. So, one of the key things that the country has to focus on today going forward is the need to balance or the need to emphasize wellness over care. Going by the proverb, that is, the prevention is better than care, early detection, screening, and consequent saving of the burden on the secondary and tertiary systems. So that is the direction in which we are moving as per the policy of the Government of India. So that's the reason why it says health and wellness for all. Previously we were talking mostly on health, but more is talked about today about wellness. Let me spend some time on the subject. First of all, in the health sector, if you see, it is uniquely placed compared to any other sector in terms of the personal nature of healthcare, which may get increasingly personalized over time. The vast scope of work, what we have done so far in India, maybe 10%, many miles to go, and increasingly getting intensive on technology, continuum of care, so that, from primary to secondary, tertiary, and across public and private, there is, and different systems of medicine, there is continuum of care, and public and private both playing a part. So this is a very complex mixture of things, and the universality being the biggest vision and goal. So what I have been telling and talking about in the last few months is that we need to design for an ecosystem and not for a bunch of systems. It's a huge ecosystem consisting of so many players here in the health sector. So this is what we try to do in the effort that we're interested with, and it is guided by basically the national health policy. Technology cannot be leading the domain. The domain should lead technology anytime. So we have gone by, in this effort of preparing the National Digital Health Blueprint, we have gone by this national health policy, which talks of all the good things that have been themes of various sessions in this conference. And I want to kind of draw the attention to the last two lines, which is the need for a holistic approach. Just now, Sangeeta said, in terms of the claims management, they have to do three different things to get one job done. So how do you have a holistic approach to avoid such situations? And a federated national health information architecture. These are parts of the policy which are nearly 2 years old as of now. So how do we translate this? As an idea, it's good, but what kind of a, elaboration can be made, and what kind of an implementation plan can be made? So with that, we have come up with this National Digital Health Blueprint. Some of you might have seen the soft copy of this over the net, and I'll be speaking a little bit about the architectural aspects of this blueprint. So as I said, ultimately we need to move in the direction of an ecosystem. So the first step for that is you create the digital health system first, and then with the overall ecosystem in mind. So this is the kind of trajectory through which it has gone in the last few months, I would say a year, where from the policy, national health policy, came the idea of national health stack, which Niti Aayog had put up last year. And then they appointed an expert committee for giving a shape to that national health stack. So I was fortunate to be chairing that expert committee, and we produced our report, and it was published in July for comments. And I'm happy to say that over 300 comments were received, some of them very, very critical, very, very important issues they have raised and on this report. And we have factored all of them in further deliberations in the last 1 month. And we have also had a stakeholder consultation, and then we are expecting that the report would be out anytime this month, the final report with all the comments that have enriched this original draft. So this is the way it has gone so far. And let me say a few elements of the architectural aspects of this blueprint. First is for the ecosystem, we have suggested that these are the important elements, unique health identifiers, so that we are able to identify several of the medical errors, as they call, happen due to wrong identification at times. So unique identification is very important of the patient at all stages of the treatment. Then electronic health record, of course, there is a sequel to that. There is a further progression towards PHR, or personal health record, that Sangeeta has just now mentioned. And then the set of standards that will unite the whole ecosystem, enable the whole system to work around those standards. So that is very important area, and security and privacy of the personal data. But I would like to focus on the fundamental nature of the need for a federated architecture. In a country as large and diverse, and in a sector as complex as the health, we cannot have a unified architecture. We need to have unity in diversity, as they call, and that is represented by the foundation. There is the federated architecture. All the principles of federated architecture need to be applied in letter and spirit. That's what we have tried to do. This is a kind of a diagram. It's a kind of a evolutionary nature of the whole document, how it evolved, with a vision and a set of principles, the standards and regulations, and set of applications and services, and the institutional framework. These are all dealt with in this book in different chapters. I would like to mention that the principles part, which is very important, they have two sets of principles we have advocated here. A set of domain principles, that means health domain principles, and a set of technology principles that you see there. It takes time to go individually into each one of these, but the key thing I would like to point out to one or two of these principles. One is, in the health side, the security and privacy by design is very important aspect. It usually is very difficult to retrofit privacy and security into systems. So by design, every line of code has to reflect the requirements of security and privacy. Then you don't have regrets going forward when you build large systems. So that is one important principle that I would like to mention on this slide. And also, another key thing is the single source of truth, or SOR, system of record, as the basis for the entire data. Where does the original data, the primary data, reside, and how can others make use of it? It's not that copy of your and my health record lies all over the place in different copies in different places, and then there is a threat of privacy and security. It militates against the other principle that I just mentioned. So, idea is to have clarity on who holds which record, who creates which record, who manages which record very clearly at the SOR level, system of record level. So I will show that we have chiseled it out, and this has been further refined in the comments phase. Our final draft will have very good clarity on which is SOR for each type of health data. So this is the kind of picture that we had given in the draft stage. As I said, there is significant improvement in the final report. Since we cannot share the final details of the final report, I am using the old slide itself. But pretty soon, an enhanced version of this would be available in the public domain. But basically, it is a multi-layered approach that has been suggested here. And you can see that at the bottom is infrastructure, certain data hubs, and then the technology building blocks and the application building blocks. Application building blocks especially is a kind of a placeholder. A large number of existing applications and a large number of innovative future applications can be positioned over there and still interoperate with any other part of the system. That's how the whole thing has been envisaged. And the access, which is very important today to the citizen, will be from the top layer. Different multi-channel access provisions would be there as per this architecture. And this is a very important slide in the sense that how do you, in a country as large and diverse as India, ensure that this kind of data is not only captured but it's maintained in a responsible manner by the designated facilities or authorities. So this is, it has been, the previous slide is only a 2D representation. It indicates that the entire data will be centrally positioned at some place, Delhi or some other place, which is not the intention. So we brought in the final version, we brought out this distinction between what is held at the national, at the regional or state level, and at the facility level. So this is a three-tier kind of a system where the patient data is basically held at the facility level. And if the facilities do not have enough infrastructure, they can fall back on licensed health repositories which make it available as a service. If a small clinic is there, they can't have all the establishment and wherewithal to do all these things. So they can fall back on these service providers who will be licensed. Just as in the case of Aadhaar, a lot of licensed service providers give different kinds of Aadhaar related services. So, and all the obligations under the data protection have been very clearly spelled out in the final version of the blueprint. So this is the kind of a three-tier structure where there is certain minimal data at the national level and no patient data will be kept at the national level. I'm underlining again, there are a lot of concerns expressed in the comments that, why do you want to centralize, going by the previous picture. So we have come up with this three-tier architecture where only the index data of people will be available here in the at the national level, just to give the unique health ID and nothing else. Rest goes at the state level or intermediate level, and at the facility level, the primary data of the patients of each case data, resides there. Broadly, that is the overall direction. There is a lot of detail here. Again, within each layer, we have the infrastructure blocks, data building blocks, and technology building blocks, and application building blocks. So this is how the revised architecture looks like. If whoever is handling the computer, can they go into the hyperlink at the right bottom, please? For a second, I'll give the detail, but not spend too much of time on that. Can you please locate the right bottom hyperlink, please? Blue one. Are you there? Right bottom, right bottom. Right bottom, please. Yeah, you're almost there. Yes, yeah. Right bottom. Blue one, blue one. What's happening? Can't go there? No, don't exit. Otherwise, please leave it. Yeah, I think you got it. Click it, yeah. So this is the fine-grained version of all the building blocks that are going to come up in the, three layers or 3 tiers, you can say, and within each tier there are 4, levels. So this is, I don't want to spend more time on this. I request you to go back to the original slide, please, in the interest of time. Yeah. So there is a lot of detail in the final draft which addresses most of the suggestions that people have given in response to the original draft. So some of the standards that have been recommended in the 4 areas, we have Gaur Sundar here, who has been the support for this particular area, is consent and content interoperability standards, privacy and security, and patient safety. Patient safety, I think we need to do a little more work in terms of the clinical side of patient safety. Right now, only the device side has been covered. Probably it will be enriched in the future versions. And if Sangeeta was mentioning about the heavy footprint that EMR and other standards bring to the hospitals and additional cost. So what we have done in this is only selected those standards which are essentially required on a minimalistic approach, and this is what has been put together in the document as the minimal standard, so that cost and adoption become more affordable at this point of time. And finally, in the implementation framework, we have suggested a national digital health mission. Okay, architecting is one thing, design, development, and implementation across the country is a different cup of tea. So for that, an exclusive dedicated organization will be put in place very soon, and a 5-year action plan has also been suggested, so that there is a way forward for this. Logical next steps will be taken by the Government of India. We are excited at this point of time that at least one phase of the thought process at a very, very high level is completed, and that is a stepping stone for future of the digital health in this country. And it is not government's job alone, it's public and private. Everyone has to have, small or big, will have a role to play in realizing this dream, which is digital health for all in this country. Thank you.